Hello and welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 49 for the week of July 16th, 2018. I'm your host as always, Saine Grey. With me is Dalsson.
That's me. You forgot my name.
And
I'm a little
Thel.
offended.
No, I was actually looking at which hand was up in my preview because I have it flipped.
Because for me, it's like he was
You
gesturing
never
off to like the right and there's nothing there, so I was like, the
Who?
door? Is he gonna
Joining
join?
me are the Guardians of the Galaxy
I had to see which way it was on my
and
Yeah.
Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, oh my god, we back again.
Of what? Who? What back?
I got my skull cut back, she's fixed.
Oh, nice.
She got cool ass cracks all over her now.
You should have filled
which-
it in with gold.
I don't have that kind of fucking money. So yeah,
Shoulda.
she's back. She broke on podcast. I didn't fix her on podcast, but that's okay.
You should have made a how-to fix a skull cup video. How-to videos are popular.
Step one: take waterproof, non-toxic sealant. Step two: fix.
What? The toxicity gives it flavor.
Did you know in Rome they used to
Yeah.
boil wine in lead pots because it made it taste really good, but then everyone was getting lead poisoning?
Yeah, I see that.
That's
That
funny.
sounds about right.
There's your historical tidbit for today.
Okay, good. I don't think we normally have those, actually.
In Russia,
so-
they boiled vodka in direct radiation.
Well,
They
it is
say
Russia.
that you would think that when Americans drank it, they got radiation poisoning. That was never reported before.
All
Anyway,
right.
what do we got going on?
So first, we're going to talk about games and movies we've checked out this week, and then we're going to head into movie and game news. We're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, though. There's really not much.
I could talk for a while about the stuff that we didn't talk about last week, so.
Yeah.
I had a couple things. I didn't do like anything this week, but I did some things the week before, so
So as we're not totally fucked up this week, Thel, you can
Mhm.
start.
okay.
Thank God.
I'll start with like the video game singular I played first. I played a little more of Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. I had barely played any. I hadn't gotten out of like the first island or even gotten to the first town, which is like the first thing you do in the game the last time I talked about it. And I gotta say, now that I played a little bit more, it's a drastic improvement on everything that the first game, like, I liked the first game a lot, and this is so much better.
I feel like that you said that last time you talked about this.
Oh, even more so.
Well, why don't
First
you give
off-
some examples?
The stealth is something that you don't need to, like, go into to look for, like, traps and stuff. You don't need to find secret things with, like, stealth. That's just a passive thing now.
Well, that
which
was
is
ridiculous.
great.
It should have never been like that in the first place.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. Now what they did with stealth, so that it's not like something that is just mandatory every time you walk into a dungeon, is they made stealth fun. So sneaking past people is cool and fun, and everyone has like like if you get close to someone, they have a visible like area of they will see you and a visible area of they will not see you.
Oh yeah,
So
like
you get to actually play the stealth game and stealth
like
around.
in Divinity, same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole time I was thinking about Divinity. I thought you were talking about that. I'm dumb.
No, I'm talking
I
about
was
Pillars of
like-
Eternity.
I was like, but I thought the stealth worked fine in Divinity.
Yeah. The stealth worked fine in Divinity. In Pillars of Eternity, the stealth was like, if someone was sort of seeing you, you'd have like a little thing under you. It's like, oh, you've gotten to this person's vision. It's turning yellow. If they see you now, it'll turn red. Now it's like they have a red zone and a yellow zone, so you can just like sort of sneak around. Actually, and it's fun and great, and it's not just like a I need to find traps and or I want an advantage in this battle sort of mechanic.
Right.
Sailing and ship combat is fun.
Good. Ship combat's always fun.
Yeah.
But
It's entirely text-based combat though. So if you're looking
Text-
for
Text-based? What do you mean?
yeah. Okay. So what it does is it brings you into a menu that gives you a certain like text commands that you can do, like the ship-to-ship combat is like that. The
Uh-huh.
boarding, of course, is like the real-time real-time with pause battle of like Pillars of Eternity.
Right. Okay.
But the text-based combat is like you're given like a menu with all of like the stuff that you can do and a description of what there is, and there's like turns, like you go, then the next person goes, then you go, and you select. You can turn your boat towards the person, prepare to fire the cannons on that side, turn to the other side, fire the cannons on the
Okay,
other
so
side
it's
while
like
the other
options,
cannons are
I
getting
see.
ready. Yeah, it's like an option menu battle system, but
Okay.
it's actually a lot of fun, and I love it.
Huh.
Um,
Weird.
And I feel like there's a lot more freedom in this game just because of the fact that there's a bigger world. And there were castle building mechanics in the previous game. Like you could build up your castle and make a bunch of stuff with all of that. Just like put stuff in your castle that would give you resting bonuses and a bunch of stuff that when you showed up to your castle would make it look prettier and kind of didn't do anything else. And that's been replaced with the boat making mechanics, which are much, much better and have absolutely 100% a lot to do with the gameplay.
I see. Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
good.
It was basically they took all of the things in the previous game that were just like okay and sort of, well, it's whatever. It's not like a hindrance or anything, and they just made them good, like you're supposed to do with the sequel. They added to the previous game in a meaningful way and didn't take anything away.
Good.
So yeah, Pillars of Eternity 2, good.
Unlike Overlord. Still mad about Overlord 2. I played that ages ago. It's shit.
That game came out in like 2005.
Yeah. Oh,
how old is that game?
Old.
Old.
Well, if it came out in 2005, it's 13.
I don't know if it actually.
It's old. I think it's older than that. I think it came out in like 2004 or 2003.
2009.
Yeah.
It's still old.
Yeah, that's almost 10 years. Next year is gonna be 10 years old. Yeah, that's pretty fucking old. The only other game I played this week, or like this was one I played last week, was something I'm just gonna give like a quick shout out to. I played RimWorld on the Linux system, and it works pretty
Unlike
good.
most games.
Yeah, like most games that have been optimized for Linux, by which I mean
all 5 of them.
So yeah,
still beats
that's
Apple
all I have to
games.
say about that.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's got at least 3 more games than Apple.
Like one of the benefits of Steam though is because Steam had
Yeah.
that Steam OS thing, a lot of games were converted to Linux. So
Yeah, which is which is really nice for Linux users. My laptop runs on it, and it runs so much better than it ever ran on Windows, and I'm happy about that. But of course, that limits the ability of me to play the biggest, newest releases that are going to be trash. I have to force to play all of these indie games that are actually good. God damn it!
If I didn't have Windows 10 on my laptop, I don't think I would ever actually use my laptop. Which is, and I don't hardly use my laptop now, so
Yeah.
My laptop is basically for the purpose of taking to other people's houses when I have to stay there for a week.
Yep, same, exactly. It's the exact same thing with my laptop.
All right. Well, why don't we move into another game? You got something, Dalsson?
Yeah, so I have been playing a lot of Slay the Spire this week, actually. And now this guy came out a while ago. There's the
It's still in early
there's a third
access.
character. Yeah, it's still in early access, so it's constantly being iterated on. But there was a character that came out a little while ago. I believe he's called the Defect, and boy, fucking howdy. When it was a choice between the Ironclad and the Silent, right? So the Silent does like poison and blocks a lot, very defensive, and the Juggernaut is kind of more about risk versus reward, like how much health do you really want to lose to deal more damage?
I wouldn't even categorize it that way, because I felt like I made blocking builds way more on that dude, or on the Ironclad, than I did on the other one. You just start with more in your deck in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. But so the Defect is has got to be like the most mechanically intensive fucking character I've ever played in any kind of deck building game. And I played Hearthstone for a long time too. So essentially the way the defect works is he has a passive thing called orbs. And you can have different colors of orbs and stuff, and each one has a passive effect and an active effect. The active effect goes off if you get a new orb in the last slot, or there are certain cards that will invoke your orbs on purpose. So for example, there's like lightning, which will just deal 3 damage to a random enemy every round, and when invoked, it deals more damage to a random enemy and you lose it. There's like dark, which just every round builds up damage until you invoke it. He even has a particular type of orb which gives him an extra energy if he has that orb, like every round. So energy being the resource you use to play your cards. So like you have to like think about a lot on the defect. And what I enjoy doing is just spamming as many lightning orbs as possible and then playing nothing but blocks, so I never lose health and I slowly trickle away their damage or their health.
That sounds boring.
A little bit, but you know, sometimes this is what it is. Point is, the defect is really fun if you kind of fell off of Slay the Spire because you felt that there wasn't a lot to do, which I don't know how you would think that because God, there's so much. Then you might want to try and come back. The defect, like every time you play as that character, like it's gonna be different because you're not always gonna be able to do a lightning block bullshit build. He was actually my first win in Slay the Spire. I'm really proud about that. Yeah, Slay the Spire is great. It's like a card. I didn't even describe it, did I?
Well, you said it was a deck building game.
Yeah. It's like a deck building game where you run through a dungeon and turn-based, like you play a couple cards every round. There's just like and of course it's a roguelike, so every run is going to be different every single time.
Slightly different.
Yeah. Because of the nature of deck building games, like you can kind of like seek out particular things, but it's also it's random enough that sometimes you're just not going to be able to do the thing you plan, and you're forced to go in a different direction with what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. Really short because I don't like. It's hard to put a lot of thoughts about Slay the Spire without going into like hours and hours of talking about specific things, because you'll have to explain that and then explain that and then explain that. But I would pick it up if you enjoy deck building games or like just like card based combats in general. It's probably one of the best ones out there. And I played things like Guild of Dungeoneering and stuff. That's
You know what would be great if they had the combat system from Slay the Spire with the dungeon crawling aspect of Hand of Fate.
Yeah, see,
because
that would be great. Combat in Hand of Fate was.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I just found it boring.
Hand of Fate 2, which I played it for a while. I'm not sure if I ever talked about it on the podcast, but
Hand
of Fate 2,
briefly.
It actually really, really improved upon a lot of the like shitty parts of Hand of Fate 1. Like for example, the Bamham Arkham combat, like it's still the same style of combat, but they added so many different types of enemies that appear much more frequently than just, oh, now you're fighting a boss. That you actually have to like think about what you're doing. The combat's a lot harder, and that was my main hang up with the first Hand of Fate game.
I didn't think it was easy or hard. I just found it boring. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't tried Hand of Fate 2, so.
Right.
But yeah, Slay the Spire is one of my favorite indie games right now.
Yeah, it's great.
I want to go back to Slay the Spire, and Caves of Quid got a huge update too, I heard.
Did it?
Yeah,
I've never been outside of the first like 3 blocks away from town, so.
Well, they changed it so that the town is randomly generated too now.
Oh, thank you, God.
So, yeah, I want to go back and try that out, because you start out with different quests and stuff now.
We should fight and slay the Spire, Saine. There's actually a seed option, so we can go through the same dungeon.
Oh, That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'd probably win though.
you probably would.
I've beat it once, and I think that was probably what made me stop playing for a while. It's like, okay, I beat it. I've conquered it.
Apparently, when you beat it, so you know how you get to the end and you like damage that heart.
Yeah.
If you break it, you can like get like an ascendancy, which just makes the game harder.
Mm.
And it's not like more health and damage. It's like ascendancy 1, normal enemies will be stronger. Ascendancy 2, there will be more elites on the map, which is actually a boon if you ask me, because you get more relics that way.
It depends on how well you are able to deal with them, but yeah.
So yeah, it's straight up designed for instead of meta progression by making your character stronger, you get this like pseudo meta progression which makes the game more difficult as you play it, which is
and you also unlock cards
cool.
every run.
Yeah, up to a certain point. I think once you unlock 5 sets of cards and stuff, that's it.
Well, yeah, I they'll probably add more as they add more cards and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Have you ever played Slay the Spire, Thel?
I have never, mostly just because of the fact that I don't really like card and deck building games, so I haven't given it a try. But it might be one of those things where it's like, it's one of those things that I don't like, but it's like just really, really a good version of that thing, so I'll end up liking it just because.
Yeah, I would say
it's honestly the best deck building game I've ever played.
Yeah, okay. Seriously, definitely.
I should.
Like, I can say
it's one of those things
too.
where it's like, yeah, I should play it, but it's like, it's one of those things where I'm not like busting out to play it purely because of the fact that it's like other deck building games, even like Magic the Gathering, have sort of turned me off. But yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even consider Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone similar to it, because it's a deck building game. It's not a trading card game.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So it's not like you play out monsters and stuff. Your deck that you build, it makes up your attacks and your powers and defenses. So you
right. Oh yeah.
And so as you go on, you add and remove cards to your deck rather than just having.
If you ever played something like Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories or that Metal Gear game that was really weird.
Metal Gear Acid.
Yeah, Metal Gear Acid. It's
or
more
that,
akin
that
to
game that we played a while ago that got like kind of boring. So like it was like Wakfu deck building.
No, it wasn't. It's not like Wakfu.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. It was like this weird. It wasn't a Wakfu deck building game, but it was like a Wakfu like with deck building. I cannot remember what the game was called. We played it like we were gonna like talk about it on the podcast or like do a review about it, and then we all played it and we're like, fucking.
I don't remember that at all, but okay.
This game.
I'll take your word for it.
Fair enough.
But Slay the Spire is probably a lot better than that. So.
Oh, certainly. That game was kind of trash. Or at least incredibly boring.
So, do you have more games, or do you want to hop to me and then we can hop back?
Let's hop to Saine. I don't have any games at all.
Yeah. So I played Celeste some more.
Ooh, I've been meaning to get onto that.
I really loved this game, and way more than I thought I would, because I have been at least somewhat interested in it ever since I heard about it. But having played it now, and I beat it like 2 days ago or something, it has a really great story, which is like really surprising in a like difficult platform-based game. The platforming in it is super solid and really good, and they do a good job of giving you new abilities and changing up the way that the levels are designed. And it's one of those games where every level has kind of a gimmick, but then over time you start seeing like the same gimmicks put together, and then you go like it's really top notch.
Good.
Probably like the best platforming game I've ever played. I like it more than I liked Cuphead. So just really solid. I highly recommend it. You should definitely check it out, Thel. I don't know if you'd be able to make a video out of it, but it's definitely worth your time, regardless.
Yeah, maybe. I've been going through Ori again, in an attempt to make a video out of that. And and I have like an idea of what video I might make out of that. Like I have a joke in mind that I would do, and I'm gonna check out Celeste to see if I can. But I do have a video planned. I'll talk about it a little bit later.
One of the
Okay.
best things about Celeste is it does a really good job of marrying the storyline with what you're actually doing in the game.
Ooh.
So for like just for example, and this is like the most basic obvious example, the point of Celeste is the main character is trying to climb a mountain, right? So as you get closer to the peak, it gets more and more difficult. And the way that it kind of works is there's sort of this story plot about how your character is like dealing with anxiety and depression and stuff, and it's like emotionally just as much about climbing the mountain as in physically it's difficult to climb the mountain.
Right.
And as story beats happen, you get new mechanics that directly like affect what you're doing. So there's one point where you have to carry this giant crystal, and rather than it just happening in a cutscene or something, you have to use this crystal to get through the area. So you're taking this with you, but not only for story reasons do you have this crystal, but you're also using it in puzzles as you're going through. It's just really good. Like it's everything about it.
Nice.
I am very excited to play this game.
Yes. I beat it, and then in each level there's a hidden what's called a B-side, which is like a cassette tape, and it unlocks a harder version of that same level.
Nice.
And I found I think there's 7 levels total, and I found 3 of them. And I say levels, but they're really long segments. They're not they're not that short. Let's see how much I put 10 hours into it, just for my first playthrough.
Okay.
And that's not counting any of the B-sides or anything. That is counting spending a lot of time trying to get some of the strawberries, which are optional side objectives. But I highly recommend it. It's really good.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna need to get down on that shit. I'm excited for that. I actually installed it last week and forgot I did that.
Oh yeah. It's funny.
Because I got a new controller that I wanted to test it out on something.
That is a good game to play on controller.
Yeah.
Although on my controller I had some issues with if you play with the analog stick, you have to be pretty accurate with it because it seems to have a very lax gait on it. So you have to be pretty accurate with if you want to go up, you have to push the stick up. You can't kind of go diagonally because it'll just send you diagonally. And I've died a lot of times because I just didn't push the stick the right direction.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can play it with the D-pad, but it's not that comfortable on a 360 controller, which is what I was using.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I think it would work well with keyboard and mouse, or probably just keyboard. I don't know if they use mouse, but
yeah, I don't.
It would probably work fine with keyboard, but I would prefer to play it with controller for sure.
Right.
Okay. I finished Quantum Break.
Good. How did you like it? When all said and done.
So when it was all said and done, I did enjoy the story quite a bit. I kind of looked back at some of I kind of read online to see how much the choices actually affected much. Gameplay wise, they affect almost nothing, but they mainly affect that those 30-minute cutscene movies that are like a TV show. But I didn't bother replaying it again. I thought the ending kind of wrapped things up, and it's not like the ending changes based on your decisions.
Right.
Just kind of how you get there changes a little bit. But,
yeah, okay.
And the side story changes. There are a couple characters who may or may not be alive at the end, depending on your choices, but it's really not major, so,
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I my final thoughts about it is I did really enjoy it, and I thought it was a good thing to play before Remedy's next game. So
Mhm.
I definitely picked that up on sale. That's when I picked it up. It's a very serviceable shooter with pretty decent time mechanics that make it a bit more interesting. But when it comes down to it, it's still a third-person cover-based shooter. So you know.
Right.
Anything else you want to talk about, Dalsson?
Um. God, I don't think I played anything else.
What's Trailmakers?
Oh, I launched that briefly because I saw that it had an update. It was a game that I got a while ago. Basically, you build a car out of like Lego bricks that you find, and then you use that car to get to places. To
Oh, it's kind of like a kind of reminiscent of FTL, right?
no.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like a roguelike. There's like a
must be thinking of a different
there's like
game.
a set of maps, and you build a car out of bricks, and then you can drive it around. Or it can be a car, you can build a plane, you can build a boat, and recently they added a submarine that you can build. And then you use
Interesting.
those to get new pieces to build your car better.
Okay.
It's neat. Yeah, it seems kind of neat, but I just can't get into it.
Is it too much building?
Yeah, it's too much building because you have to, like, actually be good at building stuff.
They don't give you a lot of
They don't really give you a lot to work with now.
Okay. Well, work with in terms of like schematics that you just have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you fuck up your tire, then it's like, okay, well.
So
guess
it's
I can't use
probably
this
more
car, I have to build the
reminiscent
whole thing.
of like Kerbal or something, but
Yeah.
maybe less intense than that. But...
Or like if you ever built a bathtub car in Gary's mod, getting the wheel to align right was just awful.
All right. Well, I just saw that on your playlist, so I thought I'd ask about it.
But yeah, I mean it's
a video game.
It's a video game. I think that some people could have a lot of fun with it. I just don't think that I'm one of those people.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I played a bit of Tales of Basaria. Or Saria. Basaria? I don't actually, they've never said it in the game, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Which is kind of funny because you would think they would talk about it, but
Tales of Wisteria. Welcome to the magical island of Donderai. We don't know what the fuck the title of this game means. We're as lost as you are.
There's like demons, I guess. Yeah, so I've only put, I mean, this is a big ass JRPG and I've only put like 5 hours into it, so I've basically gotten past the tutorial at this point.
Yeah.
So far I really like it. The story's really good. I mean, it's kind of like, it falls into like pretty common JRPG tropes in places, but the conceit of the game is like something that I don't think is done very often. The main character is basically turned into a half demon, I guess. So, well, technically she's a demon, but she doesn't look like a demon. She just has a demon arm sometimes. But it kind of, it's good about building up a sense of like lore to it. You feel like there's a lot going on in this world and you don't know everything yet. So but it seems like that it does a good job of creating the illusion of there being a lot of history and like lore, and you are kind of discovering it as the main character is. So especially when they introduce demons, because in the very beginning of the game there's kind of, they talk about demons a little bit, but it isn't until that you become a demon that you really start learning anything about demons. So the main character is on kind of a revenge plot sort of thing, which I don't see done in JRPGs super often. But it also, because you're kind of a monster, it sort of has like a prototype vibe to it. Not like thematically, in that you're on this revenge plot and you're gaining powers by killing demons and exorcists who are like the demon cops, essentially. So I don't know, it's really interesting. I'll put more time into it. It has a action combat system that's pretty good. I just wish that I don't know what it is about JRPGs, but they really like to do this thing where you have an overworld that you could just fight things in, but instead you have like random battle system, and it's not random in that like they just happen all the time. It's random in that like you see a dude in the overworld, you touch him, and then you go into this second like battle screen. It's like, why not just have the battle happen in the place you're at? Like, I don't understand. Ni no Kuni did it, but it kind of made more sense in Ni no Kuni because your overworld doesn't look like, you know, the battle area. But like in dungeons, you just fought monsters. In Tales of Berseria, you are never in, like, you're not in an overworld. You're in like a world, and you hit monsters, and then it takes you to a like instance of the same place you've been in, and then you fight them, and then you leave that instance of the same world, and then you're back in the world you were in.
Maybe it's like an optimization thing or something. Like they don't want too many monsters just running around in the world, or like, I don't know.
I mean, the only real advantage I think you really get from it is that if you really wanted to grind enemies, you could just kill all of the enemies in the area and leave, and then come back and kill them all again. But like, I don't know. I don't see why. Okay, a lot of people say that, you know, talk about all the different things that Dark Souls does well, right? This is an aspect I don't think gets covered enough. For being a Japanese developed video game, it sure does have a lot of enemies just in the world you're playing in. And I hope that more actual JRPGs take some cues from that, because man, it's a lot nicer to actually like fight dudes than go into a loading screen, fight dudes for like a minute, and then leave a loading screen. Like, it's just annoying.
Yeah, definitely. Final Fantasy 15 started to, you know, Final Fantasy 15
That's true.
Has in-world enemies. They also switched to an active combat system, which better facilitates. Like, if you have a turn-based combat system, then there's no getting around that. You're going.
Yeah, you might as well. Tales of Berseria is an action combat system, though.
Yeah.
So, I think on consoles it's multiplayer. I wasn't aware of this, but I was looking at the PS4 version of the game. And it says 1 to 4 players, which is weird.
Do you think does it have local co-op on PC?
I don't think so.
Strange.
Or at least if it does, I was not aware of it. It says it has local, yeah, it does have local co-op on PC.
Interesting.
So that's weird. I guess how it works is when you're in combat, you control one of the characters on the screen. And rather than doing any split screen, it probably just has you fight on the same screen. And in like when you're playing it, you can switch to any character that you have unlocked anyway. But I don't know, it's weird. I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, although it is one of those games like you wouldn't be able to play co-op for the first 6 hours of the game at least. So, I guess depending on how long you went through the opening sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tales of Berseria, very good. I'm gonna play more of it. I'll keep you updated.
Excellent.
All right, so I think that's all the video games we want to talk about. Do we want to talk about movies next?
Okay.
Do you got any movies before we talk about the big one, Thel?
I watched Blade Runner again.
Do you have any thoughts about Blade Runner again?
Yeah, one of the things that I actually didn't really notice in previous 15 watch-throughs of Blade Runner 2049
it was a good movie.
Well, I noticed the first one. At the point in the end when he's when you know, Ryan Gosling is choking Love, right? And she's got that whole, you know, thought process that fucking Neander Wallace has put in her head about with the whole angels thing. It's the thing that Neander Wallace calls all of his replicants, is he calls them all angels. One of the things that happens, and it's really, really well done, is that when Ryan Gosling is holding her like under the water, right? She's like making a lot of bubbles, and the shot is like from her point of view looking up at Ryan Gosling, and then sort of as the
spoilers,
bubbles
by the way.
Oh yeah, spoilers by the way. As the bubbles sort of dissipate, Ryan, the water becomes more clear, and then when the water is more clear, you can see Ryan Gosling's like head illuminated by the backlight, making it look like he has a halo.
Huh.
He
Yeah,
was the best angel of all.
I guess I never noticed that either, but I wasn't really thinking about that nuance.
That sounds great. I should watch this movie sometime.
So yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about the big one.
Yeah, you probably should have warned that I was going to have a major plot spoiler in it, but, you know, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, that was pretty big. Actually.
Well, he fights...
A main character kills another main character, I think that's...
the main character fights the bad guy.
Well, whatever. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. This movie was really surprising. I'm kind of happy with what Marvel did with the villains in this movie, rather than sort of taking the regular route they do with their villains, which making them the big bad guy. They basically made the villains what could best be described as silly goons attempting to destroy our hero Ghost's scientific experiments. These like our hero Ghost have some sort of powers brought on by similar scientific experiments, though they can like shrink down to like small size or something. It's kind of cool. I like the villains in this movie. They were neat. There's a lot. They had a lot of screen time.
You don't know anything about Ant-Man and the Wasp, the movies or the comics. Thel is saying that Ant-Man and the Wasp are the villains of the movie. That's the joke.
Yeah.
I thought one of the things I really thought the movie did well was it balanced a lot of different factions in one movie without it becoming over encumbered by it.
Right.
Because there were like the main characters, Ant-Man, Pym, and the Wasp. There was these like goon guys who were trying to steal technology.
Yeah, these other separate goon guys, which I felt were a little bit weak, but not like super.
They were weak, but I don't think they needed to be anymore because they were sort of just there.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. Excuse me.
There were the police, who were a faction that was happening the whole time, and then there were who Thel was saying were the hero of the story, the Ghost character, and her friend.
Yeah, Ghost and friend.
Ghost and friend. And they did a really good job of bouncing back and forth between them without it becoming too heavy or unencumbered, or like you feeling like you didn't get a sense of what anyone was doing. They made sure you knew what every character was trying to get pretty quickly without it feeling too, I don't know, passe or finicky or whatever. It seemed to work really well despite having so many different characters and sets of characters. So
and
it was also really funny.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a much lighter. It's strange to see this. Of course, like a million people have said this because it's strange to see this coming off of Infinity War, which was had some humor but was ultimately kind of dark. This is a much
half of the population of the entire universe could die.
Yeah, but
and this
if you
is
think
like...
about it, spoilers by the way. If you think about it though,
that's the concept of Infinity War.
Concept of the comic book anyway. I it's been long enough. I don't think that's a big deal though. But it like not counting Infinity War, there was Thor Ragnarok, and it was probably on the same level of humor as that.
That's true.
And
it was a little more high stakes. I mean, just for Asgard, but
right.
Yeah.
I thought that I liked the first Ant-Man better a bit, but I really enjoyed the second one as well. I thought it was really good. It was fun.
I thought it was.
I'd watch it again.
I thought it was a pretty serviceable Marvel movie. It like I talked about, I went in solo and hated it. I wasn't feeling it at all angry or bored or depressed by this movie. It was a fine movie that you can go and watch on a Saturday afternoon.
Michael Pena in it was really funny again.
Oh yeah, Michael Pena's always great.
He did a really great job, like pulling the humor up in that.
So which Ant-Man is it? Is it Hank
Paul
Pym?
Rudd.
Okay, yeah. Was it Hank Pym in the first one?
No.
Okay, so here's the
Hank
thing.
Pym?
Here's the thing. In the first and second one, Hank Pym is already retired from being Ant-Man, and Scott Lang, who's played by Paul Rudd, is the younger Ant-Man, the second Ant-Man.
Right.
There is also a second Ant-Man in the comics, and he's playing Scott Lang. So.
Okay.
Scott
Lang is the guy that steals the Ant-Man suit, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And that is actually the premise of the first movie.
Yeah.
The premise of the first movie is he steals the Ant-Man suit and then has to do Ant-Man stuff. So
that's funny.
And then kind of the premise of this movie is Scott Lang is in trouble for helping Captain America back in Civil War. Remember that like 8 movies ago?
What? Vaguely.
So I really enjoyed it. I think maybe in a way, this is probably like a double-edged sword, right? In a way, it's less of a genre film than the first one was, because the first one was a heist movie, so it had some of those trappings. This one didn't really fall into any like genre really, other than just kind of like action movie. So kind of like humor action movie. So it was kind of just like sort of slapsticky with Ant-Man stuff, which is fine. And it wasn't trying to be super serious. And even the villain of the movie wasn't super serious. So, it just kind of was. It was good. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth watching, I would say. But it's also one of the more skippable Marvel movies for sure.
It's like,
so
it's a fine movie if you want to understand the deep complexities of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Watch this shit. You can watch anything
gonna crawl
else.
into Thanos' nose and eat his brain.
That's how he beat Thanos in Well, what he did is he in the after credit scene he called Squirrel Girl and was like, "I'll beat him," and she was like, "I'll beat him before the next movie came out," and she did. It's 2019 now.
There's no Infinity War 2.
And it's I can't believe in Infinity War 2, Captain America was just like, "I can't believe fucking Squirrel Girl beat Thanos without us."
Wow, that was great. You guys want to get some drinks?
What do we do this movie? Shit, hey Kevin Feige, help!
The final the after credit scene for Ant-Man and the Wasp was pretty good though.
Oh yeah, the actual one. Yeah. I talked about it when I talked about
oh god.
War.
What fucking superhero movie do they reveal?
No, it's they tie it back into Infinity War.
Oh,
because this is all happening during Infinity War presumably.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because
well, they're not. They're too busy to be watching the news right now.
Okay.
I feel like they might have been able to weave that in really cleverly, like have the news on in the background and little things like that. That would have been really nice. They didn't do that, but
or someone being
cool
like, "Oh shit, there's aliens in New York again."
Or a giant purple monster is attacking. Where the fuck is the Hulk?
Not even that. Just have they're in a diner or something talking about we need to get this shit back from Ghost. She fucking stole our stuff, and it's just in the diner maybe there's people crowding around the TV just in the background. Like there's a shot of Hank Pym, then there's a shot of Scott Lang, and behind Scott Lang there's a TV shot of Hank Pym, behind Scott Lang there's more people crowding around the TV. Little things like that.
Yeah, and although I guess maybe there does seem to be a time jump between the end of the movie and that after credit scene, so I suppose the movie could have taken place right before Infinity War also.
Yeah, it basically is taking place. It's sort of whenever. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't have a solid time frame other than the end. The end ties it directly to Infinity War, but
Yeah.
Uh, but at the same time, it's like, they're in San Francisco, and everything else is happening in New York. So
Right, okay.
it's not like he would have been able to come anyway.
Yeah.
You know, you would think that, like...
Plus, he had some other shit he had to deal with.
Well, I guess no. Yeah, I was gonna say, you would think that Thanos would just attack, like, the whole world looking for the Infinity Stones, but he, like, knows where they are, right? So, like...
Yeah, he went to the
doesn't need
specific
to.
spots. They were fighting in Wakanda. There weren't news choppers there, so...
Where the fuck
Yeah,
was
there
Luke
were
Cage?
choppers. Wakanda just beams the news into everybody's brain because they're with vibranium. They just use vibranium to vibrate news into your ear holes.
I wonder if Luke Cage was Infinity Ward on.
I wonder if Luke Cage could fight the Hulk.
Anyone can fight the Hulk.
Yeah.
Try, yeah. I mean, like...
Steve from accounting could fight the Hulk.
I do not think that that would be considered a fight. I think that with Luke Cage, it would be considered a fight. Like, there's a couple people that you could say got into a fight with the Hulk.
Luke
Steve from
Cage
accounting
can
rolls
still...
up his sleeves. All right, guys, it's fucking time. I'm taking this motherfucker out. He broke our office for one too many times.
Luke Cage's skin is invulnerable, but he can still be pummeled to death.
That's true, yeah.
Anyway.
He's got, like, concussions.
So that was it.
Alright, so that's Ant-Man and the Wasp, I guess.
Yeah.
It sure is.
That's pretty good.
Is there anything else we want to talk about before we head into the... or take a break and then head into the news?
I don't really think so.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Finish that segment kind of early, so why don't we come back right at 5? That's in 12 minutes.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. We'll see you guys in a bit. And we're back. Welcome to the second half of the show where we talk about game and movie news.
Oh boy, which one are we starting off with?
Look how excited we are about it.
I'm about to fall asleep all the time. That's just my normal state of being.
Yeah, me too.
And yet he somehow never does.
And yet I somehow never do.
I do. Anyway.
Which one we want to start with?
Why don't we start with movie news?
Okie dokie. We usually start with that. So.
Did we talk
First
about the
things
Gretsuko thing? There's like 2 weeks of news in here.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about... Do you guys talk about any of the news at all last
No,
week?
we didn't do any of the news.
We had to cut it short, so I think
So then we didn't.
I think the earliest thing is that the Gretsuko thing.
That's what I was thinking too. So anyway, that Gretsuko thing. It got renewed for a new season, which is great.
To absolutely nobody's surprise.
Absolutely nobody's surprised. Firstly, it was a Cyrano show, so they already have fucking money. Secondly, it was super fucking popular. So yeah. When you have these two things combined, it usually makes a second season.
Yeah, they didn't even have to make money off of it. They just sell more Hello Kitty merch.
And they made money off of it anyway. I'd buy merch for a Gretsuko. She's adorable. And so is everyone else in it.
And we're damn likely to get it too because it's Cyrano.
Yeah, and they do one thing, it's sell merch. You want fucking a Gretsuko panties? Well, let me fucking tell you, you can get some.
Out of a vending machine in a back alley.
Out of a vending machine in a back alley off of eBay.
Buy the vending machine off eBay.
eBay,
the whole vending machine.
Panties, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I went back and watched the original shorts too.
Oh, good.
After watching
I wanted to do that. I thought the original shorts were really funny of everything I saw of them. It was really funny. I don't know if I think we talked about it when we talked about Gretsuko initially, but
yeah.
It was like maybe 2 weeks before Gretsuko came out on Netflix, and it wasn't even like announced or anything. Saying, how's that antifreeze taste? Is it you doing okay?
It's blue Kool-Aid.
No, man, my favorite is Tide bleach with the cleaning stuff.
Don't start a Tide Pod thing. Come on.
No, fuck. I'm not. I'm talking about the stuff that comes in a bottle.
Bottled Tide Pods, huh?
Anyway, let's continue.
Yes, I was talking to Thel, I was like, look, these little Gretsuko short, these like these like actually I was like these little like red panda shorts where she gets mad and sings death metal, like what are those? And he's like, oh, that's Aggressive Retsuko. And I'm like, oh, let's watch it. And he's like, I mean, okay, but they're fucking impossible to find. And he was right. And then like I kept talking about it and trying to like find a bunch of them on like Dailymotion, but they were all out of order and stuff. And I was like, I just want to find a playlist of it somewhere or something. And then he was like, hey, Agretsuko just released on Netflix. And we initially went into it thinking it was going to just be all of the shorts in a collection, right?
Well, not even all of the shorts,
boy.
just like a collection of new shorts they made specifically for Netflix or something.
I thought it was going to be the shorts in a collection. I didn't know it was a Netflix original even. But yeah, so we were just kind of like blown away by it.
Yeah,
I watched a bunch of them on Dailymotion out of order.
Mhm.
Realized that after a while they stopped dubbing them. So a bunch of them weren't dubbed. And then so I went to Kiss Anime or one of those websites and just watched a bunch of random ones, except they because the other ones weren't in order, I had to rewatch a bunch of them because I didn't know which ones I had seen and which ones I hadn't. So
I see.
And I may have still missed some. I'm not even entirely sure. But
yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, like
a couple.
I think the
something.
shorts are even like I think the shorts are pretty good just from the few that I've seen.
Oh yeah,
they're kind of funny. I definitely
they're like
liked
funny
the
little
show
skits.
better because it actually had like a through line plot, but
It had substance, yeah.
But
which is something that me and Dalsson were not expecting going.
Also, they
into it.
changed some of the genders of some of the characters.
Really? Like who?
The kangaroo in the gym. I think they call it a boy in the series, but they call it a girl.
It's definitely a dude. Huh.
Yeah, it's definitely a guy.
They call it a girl
Maybe
in the
it's
shorts.
His wife. Maybe she also partially owns the.
No, it's the same. It's the
yoga
same
thing.
character.
I know they
We'll
changed
say.
a lot of names. Like Washimi is Eaglet.
Yeah, there's a bunch of names that are like just totally different. I think Haida has a different name too. Fenico has a different name, which I don't remember.
Which is surprising because that's the easy name for.
Yeah, you would
Fenico.
think that one would be similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They also that meerkat that's the pig guy's friend. He's actually like a decent character in the shorts, oddly.
Like a decent character, like a good guy, or like
like a good guy. Like he's annoying, but there's episodes about how she's annoyed by him, but he's not like an asshole like he is in the show.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, those shorts are like weird. It's like watching an alternate universe of Gretsuko.
I mean, I guess they were like they gave like, all right, listen, Mr. Writer Man, here are a bunch of shorts. Can you turn this into a plot? Yeah. Do you mind if I? No, just do whatever, man. Shit.
Oh, I think
I guess I will.
What's the pig guy's name?
Director
Ton.
Ton. Yeah, he's not her boss in Agretsuko or in the shorts.
Really?
And he has a different name. Instead, they call him like Pig Boss or something. It's like a pun, but I forget what it is.
Okay.
And instead he had like the CEO guy. No, wait, there's a different character who's a boss.
Mm-hmm. Is it that snake lady?
No, the snake lady's there, but she's not her boss. Her boss is like this weird guy who has a crush on Fenico. I say guy, but they're all animals, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He was like a ram or like a yak or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It looks like his character was somewhat turned into the CEO guy.
Interesting. Okay.
So it was kind of funny that they flipped that around. She
got promoted.
Agretsuko complains about how that character is like friending her on social media and stuff, and she doesn't want to be that person's friend, but she has to be because it's her boss.
Yeah,
that's funny. And it's like probably just to get to Finico.
Yeah.
Kind of. Except not really. He just wants to talk to her for some reason. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
We can talk out of work, you know.
Why don't we move on?
Okay.
Sure.
The next bit of news we have here is this really interesting one. So we've been talking a lot about the Disney acquisition of Fox, where Disney is going to buy all of Hollywood forever and control it as the mouse sits on his blood throne. One of the shareholders for Fox sues to stop the Disney acquisition. Which
I don't think they're suing to stop it. I think they were suing them for money because they didn't properly file all the SEC documents correctly. So I think it's just a cash grab. I'm not entirely sure though.
Yeah. So what are the grounds for the lawsuit?
The lawsuit alleges that a proxy statement filed on June 28th omits or misrepresents the company's financial projections, and the data underlying the financial evaluation of analysis from Goldman Sachs and Centerview Partners of the compliant further contends that Goldman's potential conflicts of interest have not been adequately disclosed.
So basically, the long and short of it is they haven't disclosed all of the information in regards with the
in regards with
the
how
financial
much money
projections, how much money they're gonna make.
What kind of fucking
Or they
balls
think
does
they're gonna
this
make
guy
it.
have, or what goddamn
man is
lawyer
Robert
does
Weiss.
this guy have? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He's
so,
he's been a producer for fucking ever.
Okay.
He does comedy movies. He produced the fucking Blues Brothers.
But still, to sue Disney,
money.
He's got money.
Disney
He's
is
got
the one
money and he
who's-
wants more money. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Disney'd be like, here, have some money to just go away.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
that makes sense. This
Yeah.
guy walks up to Disney and is like, "Bitch, I am the one who sues."
so I doubt it'll actually stop it, but they'll probably
Yeah.
settle out of court for money.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sure, all he really wants.
So the next thing that comes up in our thing is something that I wanted to talk about a little bit. Not necessarily the article, but what the article sort of implies. Mission Impossible Fallout early reviews. One of the best action movies ever made. Mission Impossible, like the War of the Planet of the Apes series, is one of those series that you think this should be shit, but goddamn is it not. After they stopped numbering them, the series got really, really good when Brad Bird fucking made one of the movies, and then they were handed over to the.
It was called The Incredibles
The
2.
only kind of bad one in the whole Mission Impossible series was the third one. All of the other ones were good though.
The second one was bad, and the third one was just sort of okay. It had that whole Kurtzman and Orsi thing going on.
Really, I
because
remember
they
liking the
wrote
second
it.
one.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever
It was-
seen a Mission
It
Impossible.
wasn't like the thing is, it wasn't. The second one was really bad, right? The third one was definitely a step up from the second one, but it wasn't on the same level as the new ones that sort of started with Ghost Protocol. And the new ones have been really, really good, almost surprisingly so. And apparently, with Fallout, it's just keeping that upward swing. Again,
Every
Brad Bird
time
fucking
people
came out of
every
hiding.
time I hear the words Mission Impossible Fallout, I think it's like a Fallout movie, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean,
How do you tie those two things together?
Mission Impossible 2 had a 57, which is not good, but
not good.
but it could be worse. So
Not atrocious.
Yeah. It was a John Woo movie who, after he left China and started directing American movies, he had kind of a huge fall off.
I see. I don't actually, but I'll pretend that I do. 'Cause I don't know. I understood 3 of those words.
Good.
United
That's all you needed,
States
because that
and
was
of
5
America.
words in that sentence. Yeah. This is great, and I'm really happy that this is coming to pick up the slack where fucking James Bond sort of left off in a kind of a dusty part. The last Mission Impossible movie came out the same year as it was when Spectre came out, right? The James Bond movie that was proceeding Skyfall. Skyfall was fucking amazing, and it was like Spectre didn't even try. And it was like, okay, this is I kind of hate this because it's such a just they don't even care. And then the Mission Impossible movie comes out. It's like, yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's a fucking movie right there. And we got a new one. It's apparently fucking incredible, and I'm excited to see it. And we'll talk more about it when me and Saine both see it.
So on Rotten Tomatoes right now, granted, not all of the reviews are out yet and stuff, but
yeah, it's got like 50 or something. Like
it has a 93, which is the same as Ghost Protocol has now too. So,
yeah.
So it's at least as good as Ghost Protocol, and Ghost Protocol.
Well,
is
at
pretty
least
good,
I don't know if like well the thing with this is what you got to do is you kind of got to go into the critical, like actually read the critics' reviews.
The average rating is a bit higher, but like
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean like the actual what the actual critics are saying is like, holy fucking shit, this is the best one in the series.
Well, sure, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think I tend to look at the aggregate on the Rotten Tomatoes because I find that individual critics kind of exaggerate a bit, both in positive and negative ways. So I don't really look at individual critics that much personally.
Okay. So the next thing on the thing is Stanley Kubrick's last screenplay for Burning Secret was found, and it's pretty much complete.
Who and what?
Okay, you know who Stanley Kubrick is. He is Stanley Kubrick, one of the grand masters of film. It was one of his early films. It was like right after Spartacus.
Is he dead?
Yes, he's been dead. He died after he made Eyes Wide Shut. The Illuminati killed him. Haven't you heard the theories? They had killed him because he faked the moon landing.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. That's who Stanley Kubrick is. Now I know. The guy who faked the moon landing.
Yeah.
He did 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's probably
2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, Spartacus.
Oh, okay.
Full Metal Jacket. Basically all of his
literally every good movie.
Yeah, every single one of Kubrick's films are masterpieces, and we found another script that he never ended up making. It was one of his earlier ones, and people could produce it now.
Here's the question: could they make it without him there?
I think Kubrick, when writing his scripts, because of how anal he was, and of course I don't know. The truth is I haven't read any of Kubrick's scripts.
People had to rewrite his scripts anyway, and in fact, Steven Spielberg often rewrote a lot of his scripts anyway.
Oh yeah,
so
and that's the thing. Kubrick has a very it was what was it? AI was a rewritten Kubrick script that everyone sort of felt like was probably butchered by Spielberg.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg was sort of like the antithesis to Kubrick back in the day. But I can get into that later. Anyway, point is, because of the fact that Kubrick was incredibly anal about everything, especially like when he was doing like reshoots and stuff, he had a very specific vision for whatever he wanted. This can go either one of two ways. Either everything was in his head and he didn't put anything on paper, or he put fucking everything on paper.
Right.
So, and I don't know because I haven't read any of Kubrick's scripts.
My thought, it seems like that it would be like everything like. He wouldn't have everything in his head perfectly, but when doing reshoots like that, I would imagine he would be like, no, this isn't quite right. Let's reshoot it.
Right.
And so it's like
trying to feel out for the perfect shot.
Exactly.
Right.
So like I'm not sure how it would do without him actually in the directing chair. You know.
Yeah. It was because it's like that famously in The Shining, the Here's Johnny scene, they had to reshoot that like. There were like 200 something takes for that.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's. I think it still has the record for most takes in a movie.
Wow.
Kubrick was there was one post that I saw that made me really angry. It was when he was talking about like the second half of Full Metal Jacket. I don't think Kubrick really knew what he was doing. Kubrick knew what he was doing all of the time. There wasn't a point in time where he fucking didn't.
Fair enough.
So yeah. The next one is Zombieland 2 is happening with the entire original cast. I think we talked about this on a previous podcast. and we mentioned that it was.
We
not
heard
going
that
to?
it was happening. We didn't know that the cast would be.
Oh,
now I have a
intact.
question.
Mhm.
You
Think.
said the entire original cast.
Bill Murray
yes.
died.
Fuck.
yeah. Bill Murray
But
canonically
will he
died.
come back as a zombie?
They shot him in the head. Oh wait, no, they didn't. They shot him in the heart.
I think they killed him. I think they buried. Oh no, they said he did ask to remain a zombie, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did. He specifically.
So I don't
did.
know. Maybe he'll cameo as a zombie.
Good. He'll be the zombie that they make friends with.
Yeah.
Zombieland is like such a weird like anomaly because all of these like good actors were on it before they got super popular.
Yeah. It had Jesse
Well, it was a
Eisenberg before
fucking
the Social
It was a
Network.
great movie too. Like,
Yeah.
it came right at that perfect time where zombies were huge and they were starting to peter out. And
No, they were already done at that point. Like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
already
that
done
was-
with zombie movies. The only reason why that movie worked was because it was a parody.
Yeah. Basically.
but it was like a good parody to like
Yeah.
it had like real. It wasn't like zombie movie,
Yeah.
of the movie series. It was like a good parody of zombie stuff.
Yeah.
It was
it
like
was
a
a
zombie
very- it was-
comedy.
It was a good movie with great characters and great writing, and it was
Also
actually
fucking
funny.
hilarious. Yeah.
So yeah, seeing a sequel will be great, and seeing all of the original cast return, even though they're all like super fucking high build actors now, is exciting. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but if anything,
nice.
that means it'll have a bigger budget and stuff, so they might be
Yeah,
able to do
that's
more
true.
interesting things.
Or the budget will be spent up on all these actors. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, no,
Possibly.
because it's like the bigger names you can get on a movie, the more you expect the box office to be, which means the bigger you can go with the budget.
Right.
So I think that it all kind of, even though they're more expensive, I think they're going to, because they're higher build now, they also command greater audience as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but that is the thing. Sometimes movies straight up do just spend a bunch of like, most of the budget is on the actor, so they do have to like cut corners in certain places to make up for that.
You
I
can
don't know,
cut corners
because like
well,
they're
though.
talking about this being like a blockbuster movie now,
Yeah.
where Zombieland
Well, I mean, yeah,
1 wasn't
it is-
originally.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is
It's like one of those like almost cult kind of movies.
yeah,
I would say at this point.
and it is a
Or-
big.
I
and
mean,
it's actually a big
not at
studio
this point,
movie,
but when it came out, it kind of was.
Yeah.
At this point, I think a lot of people know about Zombieland.
The next one up is in this house we love and respect Denis Villeneuve, and it looks like Timothée Chalamet, the guy who was in Call Me by Your Name and Lady Bird last year, the boy man who I'm pretty sure was gay in both of those movies, is going to possibly be playing Paul, which is neat.
Who is he gonna be?
Paul.
Oh, you said. I'm sorry. You said. I was preparing that question for when you were finished speaking, and you answered it before you finished speaking.
Yeah.
Paul is the Mintat child, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
He's the Kwisatz Haderach. Anyway, fucking this is the terrible thing that has words that I don't want to say. New fucking RoboCop reboot directed by Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah, apparently they're going to ignore all of the sequels and just do. It's like going to be a sequel to the first one, I guess.
Didn't we already do this like 2 minutes ago? Wasn't it like
No,
5
there was a
seconds ago that we
reboot.
already-
There was a reboot of the first one, and they're gonna drop that reboot. They're talking about doing the same thing with Terminator, actually. Terminator 2. They were gonna make it.
Wasn't that like 3 seconds ago too?
No, because they made another Terminator movie, but it
I
was
think my fucking
a
watch is
sequel to all
broken.
the Terminator movies. Whereas they're gonna come out with another one that ignores every Terminator movie after Terminator 2.
We should make new movies.
Well, I think a new RoboCop could be good. Just because they fucked up the reboot last time doesn't mean necessarily they'll fuck it up again. I thought Judge Dredd was going to be bad.
Judge Dredd wasn't an incredibly popular film series. That was a passion project.
Yeah, but it was It was Judge Dredd based on the Judge Dredd comic books. I didn't expect
Exactly.
it to be good.
It was a Judge Dredd based on the Judge Dredd comic books. That was a reboot of a movie that was fucking terrible.
Well, no, it wasn't a well, I don't know.
Anyway, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is these two are going directly into each other. Joaquin Phoenix is set to star in the standalone Joker movie. It's been confirmed by Warner Brothers that the Joaquin Phoenix standalone Joker movie is actually happening. Next article, Jared Leto's Joker movie is actually happening. Warner Brothers confirms that the Jared Leto Joker that was in Suicide Squad, not the Joaquin Phoenix one, is going to happen.
I don't.
Are you okay, Warner Brothers?
Why
They're
are
just
you making
throwing
two...
darts at the wall now.
They're like,
two darts landed on
we got, Joker. All right, well, we already gave that one to Jared Leto. Let's just make another one. Okay, next dart. All right, we got Joker.
Hey, Dr. Bashir, throw some dots at this fucking wall.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joker.
Standalone. Joker.
When asked, the
where
Warner
do you
Brothers
come up with
executive
that?
said, "Hey, fucking Marvel can reboot Spider-Man 15 times. We're trying to catch up. We're trying to reboot Joker 2 fucking movies in the same year, but different Jokers. We gotta fucking keep up with them."
Joaquin Phoenix just doesn't seem like somebody that I would cast as the Joker.
You would have said that about Heath Ledger too.
Everyone said that about Heath Ledger.
And
the thing
fair.
is, Joaquin Phoenix is a very, very good actor, where Jared Leto is.
I think that the thing is, like, it doesn't, like, Joker. It doesn't really matter who's actually playing Joker as long as they're, like, good.
Yeah.
Because anybody can kind of be Joker. Joker doesn't, like, even his design has changed quite a bit over the years. Like, there's I think maybe my one exception to that is I think the Jack Nicholson Joker didn't really work, but...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I suppose Jack Nicholson also isn't really somebody you'd put as the Joker.
I would say that Jack Nicholson worked much better as the Joker than Jared fucking Leto did in that piece of shit.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, I would say both of those weren't very good, but...
Jack Nicholson's Joker was just like a crazy the Penguin. Like, it was weird.
He would have been better as the Penguin.
Yeah, exactly.
I was on rewatching Blade Runner, right?
But that wasn't his fault as much as
the way
that movie was bad.
Yeah.
So
we know Jack Nicholson's
the movie
a good actor.
It was a good movie. It was just not a good adaptation. It was just not super. It was a very good movie. It was just not super in with.
It's like, what the fuck is going on?
But yeah, that was one of the things I noticed in the rewatch of Blade Runner. Jared Leto's performance, that is really fucking weird too. Everyone else has is either doing a very monotone on purpose sort of thing, or is very, very speaking very realistically. Whereas Jared Leto comes out like, "I want to bring the angels to the stars so that we can realize heaven. I will be the one who sees us through the gates. Love, bring them to me. Bring me the new models so that I may see."
Let's move on. You're wasting time.
Anyway, next is game stories.
Yeah. So Capcom adds de novo DRM to Monster Hunter World on PC. There's two things. There's two things about this. First thing, one, there's no reason to add DRM to Monster Hunter World because Monster Hunter World's already an online game.
Yeah, it's pointless.
It's always online anyway, so why do you need to add de novo to it? That makes no sense to me.
It's not always online. You can do solo missions, but
But
why?
You would still do it online. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Plus, it's one of those things that is, even just with the PS4 coming out at the beginning of the year, it's already establishing itself as a game as a service, right?
Yeah.
With constant updates. There's no reason you would want to pirate this game unless you wanted to play it and see if you could run it or something like that. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Especially when the multiplayer aspect is the big thing about Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I don't understand why adding de novo. Two, assuming it doesn't make it run like trash, which Capcom's pretty good at making their games run well, so I'm not too worried about that. Like, I don't think this will affect anyone negatively either, really. So, like, I don't know why.
Though I do gotta say one thing. Hey, Capcom, remember the last time you put a de novo into a video game and was cracked within like 24 hours of you releasing it? Remember that? Still holding the record, my guys.
People still maintain. They still maintain that the first 24 hours is the most major selling point.
It was cracked before that.
It's the first week, and it was Resident Evil 7 that got cracked within the.
It was immediate.
Yeah, it was like as soon as it hit Steam, it was basically cracked because they got it ahead of time somehow. But
right. It like preload files and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, remember Aliens Colonial Marines, that game that was super garbage and people hated it and it was terrible. Apparently, a modder went through the source code and fixed a lot of the AI by changing one letter.
Yeah. Now the aliens can group up and aren't stupid and don't previously in the game, right? What the aliens would do was they would group up in like big groups and sort of like run back and forth a little bit so that you could just sort of shoot them until they would die, and they wouldn't really do anything about that. They would like be super confused when you were shooting them, like they didn't know what the fuck was going on. There was a spelling error.
Yeah, it said attach pawn to tether instead of attach pawn to tether. Now, tether doesn't point to anything, but the tether that they were intending to point to controls like essentially the entire fucking AI of the game. So
the game's still bad, but now the AI is less broken.
So like the game is, instead of unplayable, it's just a lousy game.
Yeah. God damn it, Anthony Birch.
I cannot believe that. That is ridiculous.
Y'all fucking embezzled money for this game for Borderlands 2. Pushed it off onto like
more
a
time
French
on QA,
company.
man.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, like seriously, like I don't know, play the game and then be like, I wonder why the aliens are like this.
I feel like if
Maybe
you were
it's
a
programming error.
Well, I feel like if you were a coder specifically for this game and you had tested it, you would play this and notice, hey, wait a second, these guys aren't connecting to the tether. I wonder why that is.
Well, there's a lot of things that can break things, so...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Even with simple code,
yeah,
like, you can make something completely
workable,
and you don't know why, because you forgot, like, an underscore somewhere, so...
Yeah, but
I'm not
take
surprised,
the time to fix it instead of just being like, oh, fuck it. I can't find the coding error. Let's just ship the game.
Well, sure, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm saying that, like, if they were not given proper QA time and they had to push this through by a certain time, like hell or high water, I could see them not being able to find the bug. They wouldn't just like look at it and be able to immediately go, tether error. They wouldn't know why it was broken.
Game was like, this game was like teased like 3-4 years before it came out.
Jesus.
Cause like they were teasing it as this big thing because like I think it was Warner Brothers gave them a ton of money. Warner Brothers or someone else. Someone gave them a ton of money to make this game.
It was probably Fox, because Fox owns it.
Yeah, Fox, yeah. They gave them a ton of money to make this game good, and they spent most of that money developing Borderlands 2, which came out before this game. And there are rumors that they shipped it out to like a different company to like develop it. And so far, I think those rumors are unfounded, or there's like they haven't confirmed those rumors yet. But goddamn, is this just another nail in their coffin?
It sort of doesn't matter because the game was garbage. So who cares?
Oh yeah, any way about it, the game was garbage.
Yeah, but like here's what I want to know is like how hard could it have really been to fix if some modder on a whim one day just went through the game's files and was like, hey, that's spelled wrong.
Well.
Like, it was like one guy who was looking through the
yeah, but we don't necessarily know how long that one person was spending. Like,
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, that is true.
Anyway.
Yeah, the next one.
Yeah, let's move on. So, a person hacked Splatoon 2, hacked the leaderboards to make the top 4 players say, "Please add anti-cheat."
Good.
Good.
And all of those accounts have been banned, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
But you know, because of how Nintendo works, like you
Yeah.
can just make side accounts and whatever. But
Yeah.
like he claimed responsibility for the incident, saying the crime was simple: edit their X power on 4 alternate accounts to claim the top spot of ranked on every mode. To spell "please add anti-cheat" to make the message clear to Nintendo. So apparently those leaderboard scores were stricken from the record and were put at the bottom. You know, their X scores were put to 0 or whatever,
Right,
and
right.
all of those accounts were banned. But maybe this is a good message to Nintendo that you need anti-cheat on your video games.
Yeah, maybe.
Seriously.
If you can have some guy fuck it up like this, then yeah, I feel like that's
Well,
a
that's
good.
the thing. I've never seen cheating within a game of Splatoon, but the leaderboards are obviously hacked, right? Like,
And
every time.
We don't have this article, but people were having problems with Mario's Balloon World because that has a leaderboard on it, and because of that Switch exploit that we talked about before, people can now change to custom avatars, and people were putting porn in their custom avatars.
Oh.
So for a Mario video game, parents are saying don't turn on online features because there is porn showing up in the leaderboards now.
Darn.
So
I'm gonna go play Mario.
Alright, man, you know, we got motherfuckers out here calculating Luigi's dick size. That doesn't surprise me.
So anyway, speaking of modders, a 17-year-old developed a PC version of PT, the playtest for Silent Hills. Eventually, it didn't get released because right before it was, Konami gave him a cease and desist letter.
This is why you don't fucking talk about it before you release it.
Well, it doesn't matter because they had to. It wasn't. I don't know. I don't know what the story was, but like he wasn't able to release it. But the person who was talking to him on the phone from Konami, the representative, is sending him a bunch of Konami swag and offering him an internship to Konami in the US, EU, and Japan.
That's great. This is what companies should do. Like, if somebody is making a passion project over one of your games and it looks like they're doing a really good job of it, yes, probably send them a cease and desist, but then also take a look at them and see if they're worth adding just to your company.
Well, if they were able to convert, PT to the PC and it worked well, and everybody in the office liked the product, legally they have to protect their copyright, so of course they have to shut it down. But why not take advantage of someone who's skilled?
This
apparently.
guy who's obviously good at porting stuff.
He isn't even a senior in high school yet. He's 17 years old.
Jesus.
But apparently it's working out for him.
Yeah.
Good. Good work.
It's kind of unfortunate though, because PT was like a game that you can only play on the PS4 if you downloaded it when it was available.
Yeah.
Because you can't get it anymore or make copies of it or anything. So the PS4s who have it are the only ones that have it now.
Yeah.
Although apparently he was able to get it out and somehow port it to PC a little bit, but either way.
Yeah.
Next thing. Enter the Gungeon is coming out with a huge expansion really soon.
Which I love the title of, by the way. The title is Advanced Gungeons and Dragons.
And it releases on the 19th of July, which is this Thursday.
Good.
And they're adding a bunch of new rooms, a bunch of new guns, and yeah.
One of the things that I'm actually really excited is it mentions that they're increasing the drop rates. And that was one of the problems that I had with Gungeon is that there are a ton of guns, and there are a ton of guns that are a ton of fun to use.
And you get one when you beat a boss.
You get one, you get one when you start off, and it's like, if you want to try out all the guns and play around with how much stuff that there is, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah. They say specifically in the article, quote, if you tried Gungeon in the past and found it too hard, too stingy, or too slow, this update will be the version for you. If you liked it the way it was, don't worry, we've got you covered. But yeah, I thought it was too stingy.
Yeah, me too.
That was I was so excited for it because of how they were like, there's 1,000,000 fucking guns and there's 1,000 power-ups that you can get for each gun individually. And it's like, wow, that's great. And then when I played it, I like frequently, not it, like more often than not, at least 85% of the time, got to the boss of the first level without having found a single pickup. Once, not one time did I find a pickup, and that happened more often than not. And it's like, are you kidding me?
And
make health scarce. I don't care, but the guns need to be like in the game.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
And that was the thing. I went back after playing Gungeon. I played Nuclear Throne for the first time. I was like, wow, they aren't at all stingy with all of the drops and guns and stuff. I like this almost better. But if they're adding this, then that makes me super excited to go back to Gungeon. I want to play that more. I mean, it was fun. I love the whole Damaku fucking bullet hell shit. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Toho game that I was actually curious if you had tried it, Thel, or you were interested in it at all. It's like it's like a Toho action RPG.
Jesus. Sounds awful.
I think it's great. Called. Is this one it? Yeah, it's Toho Scarlet Curiosity.
I have.
It's $13.50 right now.
I'll put it this way. I have like every time like you give me like a Toho title, they all just sort of like blur in my mind.
Well, this one's new, so you wouldn't have heard of it anyway.
I saw it. I saw it, and I looked at some of the gameplay, and it's like, I don't understand how they can. It'll either be like harder than even a regular Toho game because of the fact that it's like the way that it is in like the 3D environments and stuff, or it will be too easy to be called a Toho game.
Well, I think easy is the wrong word for it because I think it's a different kind of game. It's an action RPG with bullet hell elements. It's not a bullet hell game.
Yeah. Right, at which point it's not really a Toho game because
Toho is just the characters. It has nothing to do with
I suppose.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at like the gameplay of it, and it like this character is jumping over half of the bullets anyway. It's like,
well, you still have to. Sure, but like you still have to dodge it, and it's still, I don't know. It's bullet hell elements. It's not a bullet hell game.
Right.
And they're like from that gameplay that you were talking about, there's parts that you have to jump over, so that's probably expected. Yeah. And it's designed for. So like I don't necessarily think it's going to be harder or easier or whatever. It's just going to be a different kind of game with elements of what it's based on. So I don't think that's bad. I think there was also a side-scrolling Toho game that came out too that was like not even a bullet hell game.
Now introducing Toho Scarlet Curiosity with elements of Bad Apple and Cyrano's Perfect Math Class.
So yeah, I don't know. Because Toho is just the characters and the designs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like a fan project thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Toho is basically like, people are like, I saw this thing. Oh god, it was a long time ago, and it was really dumb. And it was like, let's just make up a fandom. I'll start, and then like,
I remember that.
Like, yeah, that's basically what Toho is.
Yeah.
Like, it just like they made up a bunch of characters, and then other people did it.
Except the benefit of Toho is it was actually based on like a game thing.
Games. Yeah, that's the thing about Toho. Toho is a lot like Warhammer 40K. There's people who like the fluff and people who like the crunch. Unlike Warhammer 40K, I like the crunch.
Are you saying you don't like the fluff of Toho?
Not really.
I like the songs.
Songs are fun as hell to play on those.
Yeah, Cyrano's Perfect Math Class and the other one.
Is there a Toho rhythm game? I bet there is.
There should be. Yeah, it's called Osu.
You keep saying that, but let me tell you, fucking, that's not the best theme. What's her name? What's her name that has the best theme? One of the fucking
Toho
tower-
Rhythm Carnival.
Toho Rhythm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Toho Rhythm
Satori,
Carnival.
that was her name.
Satori.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Anyway.
enough about that.
Let's
But
move
yeah,
on.
I thought it
But
looked pretty
I
cool.
was interested if you were
Yeah, I'd
interested in
check
that
it
at
out.
all. So Tencent is looking to expand its Wii game platform to the global market, which means
Mhm.
Steam might have a direct competitor.
Well,
in
if
the
it
West.
works, I guess.
Doubt it.
I mean, it already kind of has competitors with.
Origin and
Well, no, not
Uplay and
Origin and
Gameplay
Uplay
stuff.
aren't really competitors because
games.
those are
Good
those
old
are
games, I would
publishers.
say.
Good,
I would
good
say
old
yeah,
games, yeah.
good old
Like
games
that's
and
the competitor to Steam.
no,
I
there's
feel.
one more, isn't there?
Green Man?
No, Green Man is like a key
distribution,
distributor.
Steam key
Yeah.
distribution. Yeah.
Not even just
Humble-
Steam. Humble. I think
maybe?
Humble will
They-
probably be.
yeah.
They always give Steam keys, but they also give DRM free copies, so
Yeah.
you could consider them a competitor.
Fucking. I love
They
how
don't
like
always
like
give Steam
it was like Origin and Uplay now those aren't Steam competitors. When they were released, that's what they were trying to do. and
Well,
they
sure,
did.
but those are
Oh,
too
perfect.
platform based though. Like Origin
That's
a
why
little
I-
bit less so, but Uplay isn't a competitor at all. I don't even think you can buy. Well, no, you can buy games directly through Uplay, but like you can only buy Ubisoft games basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I don't want Tencent to own more of the world, so we
Yeah.
joke about Disney all the time, but I'm actually worried about Tencent.
Yeah. Tencent's kind of a fucking nasty bastard.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that's the news.
It's the news.
Don't have anything else.
Well, hey,
Mhm.
what about my one piece of news that I came up with in the last month and a half?
Which one?
Warframe.
Oh, yeah, right.
Warframe recently had TennoCon,
Yeah.
which is their little Warframe convention, and they announced a few really big things. The first thing, which is just really fast, Warframe is getting a Nintendo Switch version, which it's on like almost every other console already, so that's expected. The Nintendo Switch version of Warframe is being developed by Panic Button, or ported, I suppose, by Panic Button, who also ported the Doom and Wolfenstein games. So they have a really competent developer on the porting side of that, which is great. And taking Warframe on the go sounds fun. Unfortunately, you can't transfer progress between the PC and console versions of the game, so I probably won't be playing it on Switch.
That's weird. Because it connects
yeah,
to a server anyway, so I don't see why they.
They have separate servers for each console console, so
That's
Yeah.
weird.
yeah.
I know
it's
that
weird.
Sony is stingy, but you'd think they would at least have Nintendo and Xbox be on the PC servers, but whatever.
Yeah,
That's
I
weird.
don't know. There is also
honestly, if
Mhm.
you already have a PC, or I don't know why anyone would play this on Switch, kind of.
because you can take it with you.
But you still
I
need
don't
an
know why
internet
any-
connection.
I don't know why any. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So the most like you could do is play it on your couch, I guess.
Yeah, like you could play it at McDonald's or Starbucks or something if you're one of those nerds who takes your
Would
Nintendo
do
Switch
that.
to a cafe just so that you can play your video game at a cafe.
I don't know.
Just as bad as that hipster who's writing in the cafe just because he wants to write in a cafe.
Like, actually, I can understand that more because at least it's easier to separate work from being not at home, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But like,
I mean that hipster who's going to the cafe. The reason he's at the cafe, I'm trying to like meet characters and learn about people and really engage.
you know,
He's
I don't
fucking, like,
know
he has his
if-
headphones in. He ain't
like,
talking
like,
to nobody.
That's what you think they're thinking, but really they probably just want coffee.
No, that's what they're saying.
But really they probably just want coffee.
Yeah. Make coffee. Slut.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper too.
Anyway, go
so
on about the exciting thing.
The other thing that's exciting is they announced their Plains of Venus expansion, which everybody knew was coming, And that's what's so scary, is that everybody knew this was coming, and the announcement still blew everybody away. They had like a little musical intro, and then a lot of the stuff that they talked about in Plains of Venus. Now, I need neither of you two have any context on this, but I still want to go through it. One of the things they talked about with Plains of Venus, or Fortuna, I believe they're calling it. The first time they did they tried this open world thing was with the first planet, Earth. And it is called Plains of Eidolon, and it's like one static open world zone, which is in contrast to the randomly generated kind of dungeons that you enter in most of the game. And you go on like bounty missions and run around. You can fish and fly and all that neat little stuff. Plains of Venus iterates on and improves that. So, like, for example, one of the things that's very annoying in Plains of Eidolon is if you go on a bounty, you then have to run all the way back to the staging area, go through a loading screen, go into the staging area, take another bounty, go back out onto the plains through another loading screen, and wait for the bounty to start. Plains of Venus just allows you to take bounties on the go. You can extract from anywhere instead of having to everybody run back to the.
Is it really big news that they're giving you quality of life improvements in a service game?
I suppose not.
They should just do that. Like
that's true. They're also going back and adding all of these little quality of life buffs to Plains of Venus or Plains of Eidolon.
Right.
So it's a bunch of little neat stuff that I suppose is, like I said, only contextualized if you play Warframe in the first place. But the exciting thing is that the map is going to be gigantic, like much larger than the other open world segment that they have. He said that like in this little base that they raided, you could probably fit the entirety of the map of Plains of Eidolon, and then that was just like one little base that they went into, right? So really nifty, huge expansion of an open world segment, which was
Assuming
one of the
there are things in
disappointing.
it.
Assuming there are things in it, but it seems that there are.
Yeah, I was also thinking that, but I wasn't gonna go into it.
Well, yeah, but like if they're dotted around with bases and stuff. I don't know.
Actually, I was starting to daydream about Guild Wars, and I was thinking about their big maps in Path of Fire. But
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Anyway, the actual exciting thing.
The more exciting thing, the really exciting part of this is that they also announced a new type of mission. I want to say it's intrinsically tied to Fortuna, so it's tied to the Plains of Venus, which implies that it will be open world style. It is called Railjack, which allows you and 3 other Tenno operatives to all man one ship, a la Guns of Icarus. You're running around and putting out fires, going to like your hacking console to hack enemy ships. You can deploy out of your ship, and one guy can like board a ship while somebody else hacks and shoots out of the guns and flies around. It's just like this big. It's just this multiplayer off. It's not on rails. This is multiplayer like ship to ship combat system, and it's really interesting to watch them talk about it at TennoCon, because the lead developer was saying that this is like he has like this concept art poster that he has hung above his bed that is like just 4 space ninjas in a spaceship fighting dudes, and he's like he gets so passionate about how this is what he wanted Warframe to be all along. So like it really gives me hope that they put a lot of love and care into this Railjack segment.
Yeah. And
they said that eventually they want to have it be a way that you can travel between missions too, so it's not just tied to one thing. Yeah, it's very exciting. Because I always have wanted a ship game like that, and every time
play Warframe try just to do a ship game.
Every time I try one, it's just kind of shitty. Or like it's fun for a little while, and then we realize that it's shitty because of this and that and the other thing. So
well, my problem with Guns of Icarus was just that there was no
that's true.
PvE
there was
content.
Yeah, there was nobody playing the PvP content, so
yeah,
because there was nobody playing the game.
Yeah, this is actually really exciting and might actually make me try out Warframe a little bit more.
Yeah, So the Railjack is like the big thing that I got out of it. Also, the musical intro that they played before announcing Fortuna was like incredible. That's it. That's all that there really was at TinnoCon. They announced a bunch of little like primed warframes and skins and stuff, obviously, but that's not as important. These were the points of big news.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've tried Warframe at least 2 or 3 times, and I don't know. I really don't like the gameplay.
Yeah. I don't like what part of the gameplay is it that you don't like? Like, I know that we'll try and it's boring.
Yeah.
Running around doing parkour and shooting dudes in the face is boring. That's what you do in every video game, ever.
Well, 1, no, it's not true. But 2, I don't know. Like, I don't find the movement that interesting, and that's what everyone seems to care most about. And like, all of the guns are garbage in Warframe from what I've gathered, and like all you really do is the sword.
2 guns.
Well,
okay. Every little thing
okay,
that
but
you
I'm not gonna
said-
grind 20 hours to unlock a frame that might actually be fun. Or
Okay.
I could unlock the wrong frame, not like the character, and have wasted 20 hours.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, if
but
they're gonna give me like,
I don't like those things that you said were from when we played Warframe at update like 2, and they're on update like 30.
I played it again with you like 2 years or something after it came out. This was before Plains of Eidolon, but it was like well into the game being developed, and it was still boring. We did the story missions or whatever for a while, and it was all it was running around cutting people with swords.
Right. Well, that's fair. I mean, like
the first time we played it was even worse because
the first time we played it was horrendous because when we played it, it was in beta and they had 1 tile set with 2 enemies in it.
I mean, when we played again, it felt like there were 4 tile sets with 3 enemies in it. Like,
right.
There didn't seem to be any variety from what I played, and like I didn't really enjoy the movement, and I didn't really enjoy the gunplay, and I didn't really enjoy the melee combat. So it was just a collection of mediocre things that I didn't like.
Okay, that's fair.
And then when we got to the ship and we found out just how much it actually takes to do anything in that game, it's just like I don't like grindy games in general. There's a reason why I'm having trouble getting through even JRPGs that I enjoy.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. It's like it's hard because there's such a difference because I put so many hours into it. Like, I don't need to grind for this and that and that and this anymore because I have such a huge supply of everything that I need that whenever I want to build something, it's like, oh, I need to get 1 Argon crystal. I'll go run a mission that'll give me that real quick. Instead of I have to run 20 missions to get a quadrillion plastids. Like that's shitty and boring, I'll grant you. And for a long time when I was playing Warframe, I didn't enjoy it. The only reason I kept playing it was because I played it with one of my friends who wanted me to keep playing it. But then like I don't know. It's like when I built my first Warframe, that was like when I was like, okay, I can do this. That wasn't so bad, you know?
Well, here, I'll put it this way.
I like
you have twice as many hours in Warframe than I have in any game. My highest played game on Steam is Team Fortress 2, and you have almost twice that in just Warframe.
Just Warframe. And Warframe was one of my lower played games. I have more hours in Dota and Path of Exile.
Path of Exile, you have 800 hours. That's
Jesus Christ.
That's 4 times what I have in my highest played game. So like I don't enjoy games that are grindy, and I don't put that much time in any one game. I just can't.
Right.
I don't even finish a lot of games because I get bored of them before I get to the end.
See, I don't finish a lot of games because I always go back to free-to-play games, which is weird because I dump money into games and I'm like, I'm going to play this, and then I just go back to games that I can play forever instead without finishing them. And I don't know why I do that, but like that I think is the main difference, right?
Well,
Because I like always go back to those, and you bounce off of games, not necessarily really fast, but you bounce off of games for a while usually.
mm,
I usually have like periods where I play a game and then go back to a free-to-play game after I finished it. Or like play a game and it's like, okay, I'm gonna play this game so I can play this game next, play a free-to-play game and forget that game exists. And then a couple like forever later I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna play this game so I can play this game next, play the free-to-play game, and just like play everything like 5 months to a year after it comes out.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like, even like the only games I've actually spent a large significant amount of time in is like League of Legends and Guild Wars 2. Those are probably my 2 highest played games.
Yeah.
League of Legends because it was the only thing I played for like 2 years.
Thankfully, we don't play that piece of trash anymore.
Well, I don't.
I played it once.
And then Guild Wars
Never
2
played it
I
again.
occasionally will go back to, but I have the same problem with Guild Wars 2. I liked the combat and stuff, but it got to the point where everything just started feeling samey because I had put hundreds of hours into it, and I can't keep doing it. Like, my brain doesn't turn off like that. I can't just keep playing games. I have to constantly be like challenged by new things or I get bored of it.
Right.
Guild Wars 2 I'll probably go back to eventually because I do want to see what happens in the story, and there is stuff to continue to do. And sometimes I just feel like playing MMOs, but
every time that we bounce off of Guild Wars 2, we bounce off of it, and then they release like 6 living story steps, and then we play that a year later, and all the hype is gone for it, and nobody's in those maps, and it's like,
I don't care. That's fine to me.
I can see where this map would have been fun if people were playing it, but
that really didn't happen. We did all the major ones when it counted.
I feel like that happened a lot in the last expansion.
Heart of Thorns, yeah.
That happened,
especially because of how like big.
Well, because we did most of the
like...
big raids, or the big stuff, except for like a few of the raids and the last zone in that area.
Right.
Yeah,
but we had done everything else, so
right.
That's what I really wanted to do in Guild Wars, is get into like some of the raids and some of the other things.
It's never gonna happen. Like,
you can still join a raiding guild.
Yeah,
it's not. We're never going. I don't know. Like, every time I look at anything about raids in Guild Wars, it's like 25 times worse than WoW. Like, Thel, you play a Necromancer, you don't get to play raids, period. You play a Chronomancer, but you're a DPSer, oh, well, you suck. You don't get to play raids. You need to be a buff Chronomancer. That's all you can do. You're not allowed. You play a Ranger and you're not a Druid that's in heal spec, well, you don't get invited to the raid.
Well, and that's the thing. You looked about that, and you also looked like stuff for like corporations on Eve, and always said like it's either no life or don't. But there are a lot of really loose corporations.
There has to be casual raid guilds.
Yeah,
just like there was casual dungeon guilds. Like,
especially because like the reason I want to do it is because my Necromancer is just so good. I can 3v1 people in PvP and fuck on people in PvE.
Yeah, but like according to.
Like the meta,
it doesn't matter what the meta is. There's always casual everything guilds. Like that's...
But it's hard to find a pickup group. That's what I'm saying. You have to find a casual raiding guild instead of going into a pickup.
Sure, but that shouldn't be too hard.
That's always the case with stuff like raids. Like, and it's like not. It's really not that hard to join like a dungeon guild. Like, and there were pickup dungeons that were hard to get into, but it wasn't that hard to run dungeons with a dungeoning guild.
Right.
Except for maybe a Raw, because everyone we were with were like babies, but whatever.
Yeah. Or literally falling asleep.
Yeah.
Plus, I think that some of their looking for group stuff wasn't too bad, but I don't know.
Yeah, and also the what is it? Fractals. I also want to do fractals again because they added a shit ton of fractals since the last time we played.
Oh yeah.
And also, I want to test out my Necromancer. She's a fucking fuck truck.
Yeah. The thing that bothered me about fractals is it was really grindy.
Yeah, fractals were really grindy, especially because like there were like 6.
Yeah, that was,
Six
I think, that
fractals.
was my main problem, was there were like 6 fractals. Now I think there's like 30.
I don't know. I don't know, because you'd still see a lot of the same ones over and over again.
Yeah, when there were like 6 of them.
No. Okay, never mind.
What do you...
They're like, they repeat a lot of them anyway. But it doesn't matter. I don't know.
Okay.
We were talking about Warframe and why I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever put even half as much time into it as you, even if
I
I
don't-
enjoyed the game. So like,
That's,
if I don't
yeah.
even enjoy the basics of the game, how do you think I'll be able to do
How
anything?
do you think you'll be able... Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So
It's like it's one of those like weird things, because like if you already play it, it's good to be excited for updates, because you don't have to worry about, like, once you have a mod, right? A mod that increases your power strength, you never have to go and find it again. You just have it. But it's a slog to get that mod. But then you have it and you never have to think about it again. So it's like I see where there's such a barrier to entry to it. It's just I'm so far beyond that barrier that I don't think about it anymore, you know?
well, I don't care if I do more damage. Like, the actual playing it was boring to me.
Right. That's
So it's
fair.
like, I don't know. Maybe I would enjoy one of the other suits, but I don't want to spend money on a different character. Only to maybe not like them.
Right.
And I don't want to spend the time trying to grind out unlocking one without, knowing if I like it. So
Right. Yeah.
it just seems like
There's a couple that are really easy to get, and then there's a couple that are borderline fucking impossible to get. So it's like
the 3
usually
choices they
those
give
are
you
the
at the
fun
beginning
ones.
are all super boring and simple ones.
yeah.
So like,
Excalibur is Excalibur is the only one that's supposed to be good. Like all of them are good if you ask me, but there's like one that everybody says, "Oh, just pick this one, it's the best." So,
which is like the basic bitch sword man. One.
yeah. Yeah.
The guy who's on the front of the box art.
I never even got him. Also, they give you him for free in the latest quest. Spoilers. It's not the same. It's like a super secret version of him, but
Well,
silly.
in order to get that far, you would have to already have been there, right? So
Yeah, basically. It's like it's silly.
another
And people-
issue I
most
had
people
with
don't
it is it's supposed to be a co-op game, except there seems to be no reason to ever be in a group.
Would say it's the opposite. There's no reason to ever not be in a group, because if you're in a group, either people will do things for you or you'll do things for them.
Well,
and it
what I
won't
mean is
affect
there's
you.
no reason for it to be cooperative. Like, because you
What do you
barely even see each other. You're just killing things. Like,
Yeah.
And it, like, I don't know.
Right. It's not like you need somebody there to help you. It's
Yeah.
not like you're
And I guess that's not,
cooperating,
like,
you're just-
any different from something like Path of Exile, but, like,
Yeah.
where it's like you might as well be with people, or you could solo if you felt like it, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just felt like there was no reason for it to be cooperative, so it was just one of those games that if the reason why you played it was to just hang out with friends, then it would be fine, because then it's just background noise. But if I'm
Mhm.
spending time playing a video game, I don't want to play a video game that feels like background noise. So,
Right.
but I don't know.
Gotcha. That's okay. Me and Thel will go fly on our spaceship, and you can not watch, I guess.
Hey, I mean, if you buy the DLC, that's also $30 with the game. For Elite Dangerous, you can also do that.
Yeah, but why? Why would you do that when you could just put 400 hours into Warframe to build the railjack
For free.
for free?
Can you just buy the railjack?
I don't know. I don't even know if you're going to have to make the railjack, but I'm betting that you will. But it's probably like one of those things, like if you have a friend who owns a railjack, you can just get onto their railjack.
Yeah.
So
Elite Dangerous, I have a ship that can hold a friend if you both have the expansion.
if you both have the expansion, that's ridiculous. If one person has a ship that with the expansion that lets them hold a friend, then like that should let somebody
Why the
else
fuck
get
ain't
onto
the base game free to play? Frontier, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's like 400 fucking DLCs. Same reason that Ark isn't free to play.
There's
Every
like
map
one
is the same.
DLC
No,
that's
there's
the
only
same
one
price
DLC.
as the base game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. What about that Planet DLC?
That's the same
It's the
one.
same. It's Horizons is one DLC.
Oh, huh. Okay.
Yeah, so there's Elite Dangerous, and there's like basically a huge expansion, but it's
Yeah. Everyone
It's the
does
same
say,
price
"Oh,
as
the
the base game,
expansion
though.
makes the game worth it," but it's like I don't want to pay for the fucking game again. I already
I
paid for
mean,
the fucking game.
If they just put it into one and it were a $60 price point, would that make it different?
Yes,
Why?
because I paid for the fucking singular game.
But it's the same price.
I mean, it's sort of yes, but like still, like what I would want is like I paid for the game before the expansion came out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to pay for another thing later on.
Okay, but say you bought it after the expansion came out,
Mhm.
then you also bought you bought the game and the expansion together. That's
Right.
$60. If they just didn't call it a DLC and put the base game at $60, what would be the
Oh, they
difference?
did at first.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. No, wait. What they did first was they put the base game at $60 and then put this at $30.
oh, okay.
well, you
yeah.
got the game after it had been out for like a year and a half, though.
I mean, yes. And I also
they
got
added,
it on sale,
They
but
added a large expansion like 2 years after it came out and charged money for it, so it's not any different from any Blizzard game.
That's true.
I still very much believe in buy game once.
You played WoW for years.
Yeah, I
Through
know.
like 4 expansions.
I know. And I was willing to do that just because of the fact that everyone else played WoW.
Oh, okay.
But I just don't see the problem with expansion content. Like you,
I
don't
see the
know.
problem with little microtransactions, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, expansion content, like
I mean, their microtransactions are way too expensive, but I mean, I'm not gonna buy those shit. I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
think about those shits.
yeah. I don't know. I just I like DLC because
I like it when they
Just more
add to
fucking money for these guys.
I like it
well,
when they
I like
add to a
DLCs because
game.
they add stuff that I want in the game.
Yeah.
And like it's nice when they do it for free, but if they're gonna work on it, I don't mind if they charge for it too. So
Yeah.
it depends what it is, obviously, and like whether or not it's worth it is gonna be a case by case basis. But like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I grant you that the base game of Elite Dangerous isn't that fun.
Yeah.
So
And I
if-
think
it's
I
your-
think
it's-
that's part
yeah.
of the big problem is that the
Yeah.
expansion makes it fun, not makes it more fun, just makes it fun.
The expansion basically gives you the everything that you would expect from like the game. Even though like a lot of stuff that a lot of people do have a lot of complaints with a lot of stuff in the expansion, and basically it instead of turns it into a because one of the big problems with Elite Dangerous is that it's really grindy for no good reason.
well, it's really
Right.
grindy because that's all there is in the game.
Yeah, that's basically that is
Yeah.
basically all there is in the game. But like because of the fact that they don't have very much PvP content because the world is so huge, like this game was built to be Star Citizen but bigger. You hardly ever run into anyone, so there's no really like PvP.
Mhm.
There's a lot of PvE stuff that you can do, so why not just like let everyone have like a big ship, like the biggest ship for fucking 40 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
I have like a tiny ship and I have like 200 hours in it.
Yeah.
Well, the co-op stuff wasn't even in there until the expansion. So like
Co-op stuff wasn't even in there until like after the expansion. They're done with the expansion stuff. They are finally adding free stuff to the game that like ties into some of the stuff that you have to have bought the expansion for.
But I mean,
And
like,
I do like what they're doing.
I mean,
now.
like, what I'm getting at though is like the original game did have a gameplay loop. It was just a boring one. It was basically a space
Yeah.
truck simulator, which
Yeah.
a
Where
lot
you
of
could do
people
some
like.
combat,
So, but like the reason
They'll
why it was
usually like
grindy,
stuff like that.
the reason why it
Yeah.
was grindy is because that was all there is. Like games that are like simulationist games
Mhm.
only have one loop, and the only way to make that go on for a period of time is to make it take time.
Right.
So
Well, here's what I really like about like other space sims, specifically X3, right? When I start out space trucking, and I work towards a big combat ship that I can use to do the combat ship. And then like in X3, it's really nice because I can just buy a whole shit ton of ships and have them just space truck for me with like command stuff. autopilot stuff that I can, set up myself and set up like a huge thing, and then I can set up like factories and do all of this stuff and work towards a big combat ship. Whereas in Elite Dangerous, it feels like, all right, you bought one ship, congratulations, that's your ship. You want to buy another ship? You should probably sell that ship and then buy another ship with with the money you got from selling that ship. So you upgrade, and upgrade. So you're like constantly choosing, should I buy a combat ship or another trucking ship? And it's like,
Probably a trucking ship, because if you buy a combat ship, you'll never make the money for the next ship.
well, you can make money. You can make a lot of money with combat.
Oh, okay.
Specifically with certain zones, you can go in and get like bounties and shit, especially if you go with one of the Empire people.
Right.
All I'm saying though is like it just has a different loop, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's honestly why I like Elite Dangerous a lot better, because like you can do combat and trading stuff, and they're like one and the same, and also you're expected to have 15 billion ships.
X3, you mean?
No, I meant Elite Dangerous. I meant EVE Online.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In X3, it is like that too. The problem with EVE Online is it has like what I like to call Star Trek combat, where you press the button that fires phasers, rather than like really, really fun moving around spaceship ace combat.
Well, that's kind of like the give or takes of all of these games.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Except for X3, you get all of the good things in one. It looks like ass though, but that's okay.
Right.
X4.
Well, that's only okay if you're okay with that.
Yeah, it's only okay if you're okay with that. Then you just have to wait for X4.
But I don't know. There's something kind of immersive and cool about Elite Dangerous. I haven't played X3, so I don't know how to compare it to that. But
imagine Elite Dangerous, but harder to figure out.
Well, I never had trouble with Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do. That's why I was mentioning it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like in general, I don't have trouble with DLC. Like, I think the first game that I ever like really thought about DLC, and this is probably going to be the same for most people, I would think, is Borderlands.
Right.
That was the first game that kind of added like an DLC expansion thing to it that I can recall.
Yeah.
Brood Wars.
Well, I mean,
Brood Wars is always the one.
But I mean, for consoles, though, I guess.
Right.
Like, if you set aside Blizzard games specifically, no other, like, not a lot of games really did a ton of expansion stuff.
Right.
And there were like some, but I don't know. It just
yeah. Bethesda did it too.
Yeah.
And then there was other like RTSs and stuff that did it, and
yeah,
like Age of Empires, I think, did it.
Yeah.
So there are other things, like, but it was mostly a PC thing.
Yeah.
Like where Borderlands was the first one to add expansion content that was for shooter, and I don't think there had been any other games that weren't like
for like consoles. That's
well,
the thing is,
even outside of consoles, I don't think there was a lot like expansions that were like shooter. Well, maybe Half-Life had like 3 or 4 expansions, right?
Yeah, Half-Life had 2 expansions.
Those, I believe, were
Half-Life 2
standalone.
also.
Were like standalone.
Oh yeah. They were basically they were an entirely different game.
There was Half-Life Opposing Force and Half-Life Blue Shift.
Yeah, Blue Shift. Oh well, okay. I guess those are standalone DLCs, which are good. Like Blood Dragon did that too. I think that's good when games do that. Yeah. But I don't know.
I'm with you there. I like the like the separate games built on like the same engine with a lot of the same assets. Totally fine.
I wish that companies did that more, because I feel like that's a better like cost thing. Yeah. Like if you already have the engine and you already have all the assets, and maybe you make a couple of new assets and write a new story for it, I'm totally down with buying like the same game but with different assets.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm also down for like them adding a new zombie area for Borderlands. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I remember. Yeah. And it's kind of weird. Like I suppose I've been looking at a PC lens, so you're like the first one I remember is Borderlands. Like, wow, that was kind of late.
Well,
I remember them way before that.
Yeah. No. I guess like. That's the point
in
time where it switched from expansion to DLC, though.
To DLC, okay.
Right,
so
yeah.
I think that's more what I meant, because I did play like the Diablo 2 expansion, and I don't know. I played other expansions.
Even in Oblivion, like that's the point that people point to where this DLC is shitty.
Oh,
We're
even
talking about horse
Morrowind. I
armor.
played
Yeah,
I played Morrowind expansions too.
Yeah, there were
So-
2 expansions to Morrowind. There were expansions to Oblivion, right? Like Isles of the Nine and the other one. I don't remember. I didn't
The
play
Shivering
Oblivion as much as
Isles.
Shivering
Yeah.
Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles were the 2.
Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles, right? Yeah, so there were expansions there, and then they also had the DLC, which was shit like horse armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Just kind of a funny thought, I guess. So I ultimately I don't mind DLC, and I don't mind purchasing things. I just don't like when you have to purchase something to keep playing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like when it locks you out of content, especially content you already
Right.
had, like in Destiny.
Yeah, that's extra bad.
So, I don't know.
That's one thing I can say about Elite Dangerous. It added the content for the DLC when the DLC came out. It didn't lock you out of anything.
Yeah. Elite Dangerous is still just Elite Dangerous.
Yeah. You can still play as much of Elite Dangerous
I can't
as you
think
could
of
if you
many
bought it.
games that
It's
did
just,
that. That's why I think Destiny was such an absolute bummer.
Yeah. I can't think of another game that did that.
I think there's still other MMOs and stuff that have done similar things, but not
Right.
that exactly, you know?
Yeah.
Like every time there's a WoW expansion, you functionally get locked out of older raids because nobody does them unless you join a one very particular guild that's like,
Yeah.
we do this specific raid and that's all we do.
It's kind of like, yeah, and it's kind of similar to like Call of Duty map packs where you can't play the maps that everyone wants to play because you don't own it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway, I think we've been well done with the news for a while, so
Yeah.
I think
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna,
We haven't
What's
been
a-
talking about that
What's the
forever.
news?
I think we're gonna call it now. Instead, we
Alright.
had a big argument about Warframe for like 20 minutes.
I was expecting that when I brought up Warframe.
Well, you started asking me why I didn't like it, so
right. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna go into it, but
Yeah, I know.
anyway,
My fault.
I think another thing might just be that you like spectacle fighters more than I do,
That's fair. In
and I
fairness,
think it's similar to spectacle
I've basically never used the melee in Warframe. Like in the 200+ hours, I just have basically never used a melee weapon. pretty
That's
much ever.
odd to me because I felt like the melee weapon was the only fun thing about it, because
That's what
sort
people
of fun
say.
thing because the
I
guns
see
didn't feel
people running
good.
around using melee weapons and shit, and each melee weapon has like different stances you can equip, which give you different combos. Like it seems really cool. It's just my melee weapons suck, and I have some good guns, so I don't use the melee weapons.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, before we
Yeah.
get dragged back into that, we're gonna head out. We're gonna talk about some stuff. Dude, what are you streaming this week? You just got your new fancy CPU, so you should be in
Yeah,
better
so I was
shape, right?
streaming Slay the Spire a little bit this morning. I'm still not really sure what I'm going to stream, but Thursday night we should pick out something. Maybe more Divinity. I think we say that every week and then we don't.
Yeah.
But,
Eh.
I don't want to get back on the Divinity train. I love it.
but the good news is I actually will be streaming this week. So
Why don't
we
you
look
pick
forward
up
to that.
why don't you pick up Final Fantasy again? Try to finish that.
Yeah, maybe. Final Fantasy got boring really fast to me.
Or Ni no Kuni, you're towards the end of that.
Am I towards the end of that?
Well, you're
Yeah.
you're at least halfway to 2/3 of it, I think. I'm not
Huh.
much farther than you, but I think we're
Okay.
in the final stretch, so
Interesting.
that game is not that long for a JRPG. It's only supposed to be like 20 hours.
Okay.
20, 30 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you dropped Final Fantasy for Ni no Kuni, I think is why
I
you stopped
did
playing it.
actually, yeah. And then I dropped Ni no Kuni because
Cuz JRPGs are hard.
yeah.
Anyway, you came out with that video last week, Thel, right? The Love Doctor. Oh, no, Love Doctor.
Love
the
Guru.
Love
Yes.
Guru.
The Love Guru, yes.
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 So I think that's it then.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have a video out next week.
Habanera herself.
But the weeks after that, oh boy, I'm gonna have a fun video. Y'all are gonna hate it or love it. One of the two. You're gonna see it immediately. You're gonna look at the first image of it. You're gonna think this is gonna be trash, and then you're gonna actually watch it. It's like, oh, okay, yes, this affirms my feelings on this specific thing.
Do we still have Little Nightmares coming out, or did we finish that yet?
DLC stuff.
Okay,
at some point I'm gonna get the add-on.
We need to sit down and play the rest of that game.
There's like one last DLC.
There's one more DLC, yeah.
Just so that we have content to keep that going.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep an eye out for that. Like, comment, subscribe, check out our
Social media.
Steam group, check out our Discord group, which has so bustling with energy.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and our Steam curator, which we should probably put more time into. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time, and remember, as always,
stay beautiful.